4 years, one toddler, and a surprise basement disaster later. And the burning question is, do we regret it? Hi, my name is Gabby. I'm your mom friend in real estate here in the New Jersey suburbs. And if you've been following along, then you know that the past couple of weeks, I have been talking about my home ownership journey. And this year marks our 4-year home anniversary. So the past couple of weeks, I have been sharing my own story about how I bought our property, how I represented myself as my own buyer's agent, and used my commission in order to pay our down payment, and also asked the sellers to give us a seller's concession to cover the closing costs. I also shared about our first year here as new parents, new homeowners, and just all the challenges that we faced that first year. And then for the third episode, I talked about the renovations that we tackled that really made our house feel like home. And last week, I had talked about our first surprise basement disaster, breaking down how much it cost, what we did in order to vet contractors, and today is the last episode of this homeowner series. I hope that you have been enjoying it so far. If you are here, thank you so much for watching. And if you're new here, then feel free to go back to the first couple of videos so that you can follow along and understand my whole homeownership journey. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly how much is the estimated value of my house, every penny that we have put in it so far, and whether we secretly regret buying this place. So before I answer this question, I do want to say that at the end of the day, I am super proud of us for being able to acquire this property, especially 4 years ago, and representing myself. I know that that is sort of something that is, I want to say, controversial, because should you represent yourself as your agent when you are buying or selling your own property? But for me, it went very well. And to be honest, the first person I sold a house to was my mom, and I represented her, and that's how I learned intimately how the process works when it comes to buying a property. And I actually also gave her my commission to pay for down payment, and for a second time, we used my commission to pay for our down payment in this home. Looking back, while I'm very proud of myself, now that I know more, I wish we dug deeper and even learned more about other programs that is available for us, such as the first-time homebuyers grant in New Jersey that's about $15,000. I honestly wished that I went through that route instead of asking for a seller's concession, because it's free money. You know what I mean? Here's a tip if you're a first-time homebuyer. A lot of lenders and agents don't really vouch for the first-time homebuyers grant because a lot of them are just not versed when it comes to the requirements. And when I was new, I didn't know about it either. In addition to that, there are other grants that you can combine with it too. So if you're a first time home buyer, there's even more grants that's possible for you to get. If there's one thing that I do wish we learned more of and took advantage of when we were looking to buy, especially my mom, when I was helping her, was to learn more about that. I was already so excited about the FHA program that allowed us to put down as low as 3.5%. And if I had known that there's also a $15,000 grant on top of putting down as low as 3.5% down, it would have helped us tremendously. So if this is something that you want to learn more of, I'll definitely put a link down below, because this is something that I think everyone should know about. But either way, out of pocket, because I do have my real estate license, we ended up bringing a check of probably about, I don't remember the exact amount, but I think we only brought a check of about $2,000 at the closing table. And that is how we acquired this property. With all the money we saved, we did end up spending a lot of it on furnishing the house, especially with a new baby, and slowly renovating as we went. And again, last week I talked about the most expensive renovation that we had to do so far living in this home, which was how we fixed our basement when we found out that we had mold. All in all, we must have spent about $30,000 in this home already, not including the furniture. And I believe we spent close to $10,000 on furniture already. One thing that I touched base a little bit in last week's video was us renting out our basement. We have a room in our basement that is free, which we usually use as our guest room. While we weren't advertising getting a tenant downstairs, we did encounter friends and some people that just needed temporary housing. That helped pay our mortgage. We had 2 tenants that moved downstairs. Both of them only stayed for about 6 months each. So renting our basement did generate us about $10,000 of income. While it was not necessarily convenient living with people, it definitely helped us a lot when it comes to helping pay the mortgage, because the first couple of years, so far, one of the most challenging times of our lives. Me and Bruno learned so much about each other. We learned how to communicate better and be adult. I don't even know how to explain it other than while our daughter is growing up in this house, we basically grew up here too as adults. Another great incentive of owning a home, in addition to being able to rent out a space if you have extra space to generate more income, we also had tax deductions that helped us when it comes to filing our income taxes. So while I'm not a tax expert, just so you know, this is not tax advice. I am so bad when it comes to taxes. So definitely talk to your accountant so that they can give you advice on what you can do to help you with saving the most for your taxes. But I am able to deduct home office expenses in this house because I do have a home office here, and we're also able to deduct mortgage interest and property tax write-off. So we've definitely benefited a lot owning this property. But while there are so many positives that came about owning this property, of course, there are also negative things, right? I mean, the fact that we had that surprise basement issue, having to use our savings was not fun. I mean, that money we were saving for something else. We wanted to buy another investment property, and that was actually money that we were saving up to possibly buy a property in Portugal where my husband's parents and family live, or our wedding that we still wanted to plan because our wedding was only in the courthouse. It definitely was not fun to take it out and use it for the house instead, especially when it's not something that we were planning for. And while I love and I'm super grateful of how much space we have inside the house, having the finished basement, having 3 bedrooms, plus an extra bedroom downstairs, and having 2 bathrooms. You know, mostly everything is fully renovated when we bought the property. There are still a lot of things that has been a struggle for me, most especially living farther than I'd like to where I actually spend the most of my days in. That has been my biggest struggle. My office is about 35 minutes away from here, and Brielle's school is 5 minutes away from my office. So during rush hour when I have to drop her off, now that she's in preschool, it takes me sometimes 45 to 50 minutes when I hit traffic. Every day, that takes a toll on you. And when we first bought this property, traffic was not that bad. Maybe because during the times we drove in this area, it wasn't during rush hour because Brielle didn't start preschool until last year. But that really kills me because I spend so much time already driving around clients, going to properties, and now I'm basically staying in the car for at least an hour to an hour and a half just to drop her off and bring her back home. So that has been a biggest issue for me. We also don't have a garage. While we have almost an acre of land, we only have a shed, and our property did not come with a garage, and we've always talked about doing an addition so we can have that. It's not the biggest deal because I'm not a big car person, but I know that that is something that I wish we had for extra storage. We also don't have a fence, which is hard when you have a dog. Luckily, Bella, my Frenchie right here, luckily Bella is very good. For the most part, she does stay in our grass, and then she comes back home when she does her thing. She pees, and we do walk her in our neighborhood because we do live in a cul-de-sac. It still kind of sucks that we don't have a fence. And we have been planning to do that also, but again, we have been spending a lot of money on other things. But I know you're thinking, okay, Gabby, I understand the positives. Now you're talking to me about a negative. Do you regret it? Before I answer that question, I do want to talk about how much the house is worth today. And I know you're probably curious about that too, I'm sure, 4 years later. So when we bought the property in 2021, have already appreciated by a lot versus when we were starting to look in 2019 and 2020. But after 4 years of living here and buying this property in 2021, just to reiterate, we bought our property for $375,000, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, fully renovated with a finished basement. Today, it's currently valuated. This is not a bank appraisal, by the way. This is just my evaluation using comparable homes in the neighborhood between $525,000 to $550,000. So, I mean, it's definitely appreciated by a lot. I will say if we had the garage and a fence, if we added other features in the property, our value would definitely be worth more. But considering that we didn't really spend that much money on it, at a $550,000 evaluation, our home has appreciated 146% over how much it was worth. If you take how much we bought the property, $375,000, plus estimated renovation costs that we've spent so far the past 4 years here of about $30,000, that equates to about $405,000. Since now, on the high side, it's worth about $550,000, we have gained about $145,000 in just 4 years of living here. And not to mention, we were able to get an extra $10,000 from the rental income that we were able to get when we had tenants here temporarily, plus tax benefits of owning this property. And the past 48 months, you know, we've already been chipping away some of that principal down by paying monthly every single month. Our equity position is probably closer to $170,000. But after all that, the real question, I know you're still waiting for me to answer, is, do we regret it? Mom? Yeah. Brielle wants to play, so we have to wrap up now. To answer your question, while we had a lot of challenges owning this property, overall, I don't regret it. Definitely, I'm ready to probably move sometime soon just because of how far I have to drive a lot of the times, and there's just a lot more... And there's a lot of things that I obviously want in our next house, such as the garage and whatnot. That's basically it. At the end of the day, while it's not perfect, there's a lot of benefits that came to being a homeowner, more than the money and the fact that it appreciated so much. And obviously I knew that. Being in real estate and seeing how much homes appreciate in value is being able to have our own space, have a place for her to grow up in. Okay guys, that's it for me today. I hope you like this whole homeowner series. I gotta run. She wants me to play with her now. And next week, I will be talking about something different. I hope you enjoyed my 5-week series, my home ownership journey so far. I can't wait to make more videos like this, and I'll see you guys next week on another video. Bye. Say bye.
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 Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray